Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack. Today is Sunday, April 10th, 1692. During worship services, Sarah Good's specter reportedly bit and pinched John Indian, enslaved and enforced to work in Salem Village for minister Samuel Parris. John's origins are otherwise unknown.
Mercy Lewis had a fit today at Ingersoll's Tavern, during which she named Sarah Cloyce as her spectral attacker. But when she came around and people asked her who tormented her, she said she had not seen anything at all.
Unnamed witnesses specifically asked Mercy if she'd seen Rebecca Nurse, Sarah, or Martha Corey, and Mercy denied seeing them.
And here's a nice bonus here today. Since there weren't so many incidents to report on for the 10th, there are more than enough for tomorrow, the 11th. So we're going to start with Monday, April 11th right now.
On Monday, April 11th, 1692, the Governor's Council attended the examinations of Sarah Cloyce and Elizabeth Procter. This preliminary court hearing for two women just arrested on witchcraft charges that very morning was held in the Salem Town meetinghouse. This was the first hearing held outside of Salem Village.
Lieutenant Governor Thomas Danforth was the highest-ranking official to attend, and he was accompanied by assistants from the upper house of the legislature, John Hathorne, Jonathan Corwin, Samuel Sewell, James Russell, Isaac Addington, and Samuel Appleton.
Minister Nicholas Noyes of Salem gave the invocation, and Salem's other minister, John Higginson Sr., offered the closing prayer. Samuel Parris recorded the proceedings.
In front of some of the most elite men in the colony's rigid hierarchy, Salem assistants and magistrates Jonathan Corwin and John Hathorne interrogated Sarah Cloyce and Elizabeth Procter.
A justice questioned John Indian first. This was presumably John Hathorne, who had led the questioning in the village.
He asked John, "Who hurt you?"
Goody Procter first, and then Goody Cloyce.
"What did she do to you?"
She brought the book to me.
"John, tell the truth. Who hurts you? Have you been hurt?"
The questions continued, establishing John Indian's claim that he had often been afflicted by Elizabeth Procter and Sarah Cloyce, who throttled him, trying to stop his breath.
The magistrate asked, "Do you know Goody Cloyce and Goody Procter?"
John answered, "Yes, here is Goody Cloyce."
To this, Sarah Cloyce asked, "When did I hurt thee?"
He said a great many times.
"Oh, you are a grievous liar."
John said that Sarah Cloyce pinched him yesterday at meeting and bit him till the blood came, and had afflicted him many times before.
Mary Walcott was questioned next and answered that Sarah Cloyce hurt her and brought the devil's book. Mary was supposed to touch the book and then be well.
Mary fell into a fit. When she came to, Hathorne asked her if Cloyce came alone. Mary said that sometimes she came alone, other times she came with her sister Rebecca Nurse, Martha, Corey, and a great many I don't know.
At this point, Mary fell into another fit, and the judge switched to questioning Abigail Williams.
He said, "Abigail Williams, did you see a company at Mr. Parris's house eat and drink?"
Abigail answered, "Yes, sir, that was their sacrament."
Under continued questioning, Abigail revealed that there were around 40 witches at the sacrament, and Sarah Cloyce and Sarah Good were the deacons.
And this is the first report in the Salem witch trials of a witches' Sabbath happening, and it's by far the largest group of witches to gather in one place at this phase of the witch trials. Later on, they'll get more than 40, but up until now, there's only been a handful of them together at any one point. And the witches told Abigail that they had consumed the afflicted person's blood as their sacrament twice that day.
The judge asked, "Mary Walcott, have you seen a white man?"
"Yes, sir, a great many times."
"What sort of man was he?"
"A fine grave man, and when he came, he made all the witches to tremble."
Abigail Williams confirmed this information, saying they'd seen such a thing at Ingersoll's one day when Sarah Cloyce, Martha Corey, and Sarah Good were there.
At this moment in the examination, Sarah Cloyce asked for water and sat down. According to Samuel Parris, in his version of the examination, Sarah was like one seized with a dying fainting fit.
He noted, Several of the afflicted fell into fits, and some of them cried out, "Oh, her spirit is gone to prison, to her sister nurse."
Now the magistrate charged Elizabeth Procter and the afflicted persons with speaking the truth.
He asked Mary Walcott, "Doth this woman hurt you?"
Mary denied even seeing Elizabeth Procter before.
Mercy Lewis's mouth was stopped when it was her turn.
Ann Putnam Jr. could not speak either, and Abigail Williams' hand was thrust in her own mouth.
Now the judge asked John Indian, who replied, "This is the woman that came in her shift and choked me."
John said Elizabeth Procter brought the book for him to sign. The judge asked if he was sure it was Elizabeth Procter, and John said, "Yes, sir," he was sure.
Now the judge asked Abigail Williams and Ann Putnam a question, but neither could answer.
So he asked Elizabeth Procter, "What do you say to these things?"
"I take God in heaven to be my witness, and I know nothing of it, no more than the child unborn."
Now Ann Putnam Jr. could speak again. She said Elizabeth Procter hurt her many times and often brings the book, saying that Elizabeth had forced her own maid, Mary Warren, to sign the book. When Elizabeth looked at the afflicted during this answer, they all had fits.
Abigail Williams said the same as Anne, adding that if she wrote in the book, she would be well, not afflicted.
Abigail directly asked Elizabeth, "Did not you tell me that your maid had written?"
Elizabeth answered, "Dear child, it is not so. There is another judgment, dear child."
Ann Putnam Jr. and Abigail Williams had more fits.
Next, they claimed Elizabeth Procter was up on the beam.
Whoa, come down from there. Next, they claimed that John Procter was a wizard too, thus initiating the process that eventually would lead to John's execution.
Reverend Parris noted, "Most of the afflicted had fits, maybe all of them." And Putnam Jr. said the two Proctors hurt them.
The afflicted cried, "There is Procter going to take up Mrs. Pope's feet." And her feet really were taken up right then.
This is a common tactic that we see. Afflicted accusers loudly claiming to see a specter, preparing to harm someone just before that person does appear to be harmed.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. You say, "Oh, this is going to happen," and then it happens. The judge asked John Procter what he had to say, and John replied, "I know not. I am innocent."
Abigail Williams then cried out, "There is Goodman Procter, going to Mrs. Pope."
Naturally, Bathsheba Pope, who had heard Abigail promise that she would be afflicted, fell into a fit after Abigail said that it was going to happen.
The magistrate said, "You see, the devil will deceive you. The children could see what you was going to do before the woman was hurt. I would advise you to repentance, for the devil is bringing you out."
Abigail Williams repeated the move, crying out again that John Procter was going to hurt Sarah Bibber this time, and Sarah Bibber obliged her with a fit.
Benjamin Gold testified that he'd seen Giles Corey, Martha Corey, John Procter, Elizabeth Procter, Sarah Cloyce, Rebecca Nurse, and Rachel Griggs in his room the previous Thursday night.
At some point in the examination, according to Robert Califf, the judges tested the defendants by making them recite the Lord's Prayer word for word.
One of the defendants, who Califf does not name, came very close, but when she was supposed to say, "Deliver us from evil," she said, "Deliver us from all evil." On a retest, she said hallowed instead of hallowed. These two minor errors were looked upon as a depraved way of turning the prayer into a curse.
At the end of this examination, John Procter was arrested for supposed witchcraft, and he, his wife Elizabeth, and Sarah Cloyce were taken away to the jail that was right around the corner in Salem Town. Remember that this is just a portion of what happened on April 11th. We'll have more testimony and other events tomorrow, so tune back in every day to find out what's happening in the Salem witch trials.